Here is, and I said this before the league meetings, because coaches were being asked during press conferences, scouting combine, or wherever about Colin Kaepernick. And I said, ho, wait. The coaches aren't the ones who should be asked about Colin Kaepernick, because they're not the ones who are ensuring that the door remains closed. The people who should be asked about Colin Kaepernick's lingering shunning by the NFL are the people who own the NFL teams. Enter Mark Davis, owner of the Los Oakland Raiders, which would be a very cool name, Las Vegas Raiders. Here he is talking about his position on whether or not Colin Kaepernick should have a job in the NFL.
Colin Kaepernick, you have been on record saying that you would be open to him becoming a Raider if the coaching staff felt that he was able to contribute to this team. Where do you stand that Colin is going around and basically trying to show people that he can still play football?
Listen, I believe in Colin Kaepernick, and he deserves every chance in the world to become a quarterback in the National Football League. I still stand by it. If our coaches and general managers want to bring him in or want him to be the quarterback on this team, I would welcome him with open arms. I think Colin's a very misunderstood human being. I've gotten a chance to talk to him. I never really knew Colin, and I didn't understand him, and I didn't understand the kneeling, what that meant initially. Over time, I have learned a little bit more about it, and I understand where he was coming from, and he's got a message for society as a whole. There's people that I'm very close with. Tommy Smith is somebody who back in 1968 made a nonviolent gesture to let people know that, yeah, I might have won the gold medal, but there's a lot of problems left back in America that we got to fix. And I think in the same vein, Colin Kaepernick has sacrificed a lot of the things that he could have been doing in his life, and to get a message across about police violence and equity and inclusion in America. And I stand by that.
That sound you heard periodically during that clip was Roger Goodell texting Mark Davis. Will you please shut up? Will you please shut up? I'm kidding. Calm down, Roger. It's just a joke. A little levity. This is good that he said what he said. Now I'm looking at their roster, Miles. Quarterback position, Derek Carr, Nick Mullins, Garrett Gilbert. Hey, Mark, you own the team. Let me just speak to Mark Davis, man to man. You own the team. You can hide behind general managers and coaches all you want. You own the team. And if you really wanted to have the conversation with Dave Ziegler, the GM, or Josh McDaniels, the head coach, about Garrett Gilbert versus Colin Kaepernick or Nick Mullins versus Colin Kaepernick, you could have that conversation. Now, I'm not sure Kaepernick is a fit because of something he said within the past week or two about, I'm willing to come in as a backup, but once I prove I'm the starter, I want to play. I mean, they've got a starter, so that would make the Raiders not a fit. But if they do want to give him an opportunity, practice squad. Come establish yourself on the practice squad. Let somebody see some film from practice, and then maybe they can, put him on a team elsewhere. Let him be in training camp in the preseason, show he's not a distraction, and then cut him and someone else comes in and gets him. That's a possibility. But at least it's something. It's a toe dangerously close to the water. It's not in the water yet, but it's the first time we've had an owner speak like this. I want to hear more, and hopefully it goes in that direction. I'll be surprised if it does, but kudos to Mark Davis for at least saying something other than the crap we've been hearing for the last 5 years. All the false narratives, all the phony baloney mumbo jumbo, this, that, can't do it, blah, blah, blah. Mark Davis, I applaud him for what he said, but I want to see more action, although I'm not holding my breath.
Well, Mike, you know my drawstring phrase, oh, won't someone rid me of this meddlesome priest, right? This is almost, why won't somebody bring me this priest, right? I mean, I think, you brought up the backup QBs that they have in Mullins and in Gilbert. You could at least have him come in, compete on the 90-man roster where you're in the offseason program, where then you go to training camp and then you say, well, maybe he actually can do something for us. Maybe he can be a backup QB. Now, I would not anticipate that Colin Kaepernick can go in there and beat out Derek Carr, especially because, well, guess what? They just paid Derek Carr a whole lot of money to be their quarterback for the next few years. But I just feel like this is something that we really haven't heard before. And I like that Mark Davis is not just saying like, yeah, we'd be open to it, but he's providing a lot of context to what the remarks are, right? Where he's saying why he feels the way that he feels. So this is a good step, but I agree that, once you're the owner of the team, there's more that you can do than just say words. You could really give Colin Kaepernick that opportunity to come in and compete for a backup role. And from what Colin Kaepernick has said, that's what he wants.
Yeah, we've been talking all week about the influence of owners when it comes to the first round of the draft, and particularly the first round of the draft. They like to say, we don't make the decisions. They have a way of making their preferences known. And frankly, Mark Davis made his preference known pretty loud. Now, he said, I defer to the GM and the coach, but if you want to keep Mark Davis happy, maybe it's something you explore. But again, Kaepernick came out last week and said, once I prove myself, I want to be the starter. That creates an expectation that may not mesh with the traditional backup role for some teams. Teams have two different kinds of backups. The kind who come in and compete with the starter and may the best man win, and the kind who come in clearly to support the starter with no aspiration to start, no threat to the starter. Everybody knows their spot in the hierarchy. The Raiders don't have an open starting job right now, so that would be the one impediment. But there is a way you can at least give him a chance to prove that he can actually show up and function at practice. He can play in the preseason, and then maybe another team decides to give Colin Kaepernick an opportunity.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.